From the colossal bronze finger that was rotting in the Louvre Museum, to the incredible discovery of a metal researcher, here are the 10 most incredible things discovered totally by chance. Let's start. Mummies are considered symbols of ancient Egypt and the glorious era of the pharaohs. But far from the cinematographic clichés featuring monsters dressed in strips, the mummies are true witnesses of their grandiose era. And the study of these bodies embalmed more than 2,000 years ago, allows archaeologists and historians to better understand this civilization and to try to answer its countless enigmas. One of them, and not the least, is without doubt the recent discovery of a pregnant mummy. Yes, you heard me right. A team of archaeologists was able to uncover an Egyptian woman embalmed according to tradition, but who had a fetus in her abdomen. Here is a discovery that has turned all studies on the techniques of embalming and mummification upside down, and which remains a great mystery. Can you imagine that a monumental finger could rot in the cellars of the Louvre Museum, without anyone knowing to which statue it belongs? Worse still, because many conservatives even believed that this large gilded bronze finger of 38 centimeters, was in fact a toe. Purchased in 186 by Emperor Napoleon III from a wealthy Italian aristocrat, this limb was supposed to enrich the collections of the Louvre. However, no one had ever been able to determine its exact origin, or even to which colossal statue it had once belonged. It will be necessary to wait until 2019 and the introduction of more modern techniques, so that the enigma of the finger of the Louvre is finally elucidated. Indeed, it is by analyzing the composition of the alloy of the finger fragment, that the scientists of the museum understood that it belonged to the statue of the Emperor Constantine, a bronze colossus of 12 meters high. The mysterious finger from the Louvre has finally been returned to its rightful owner in Rome. Mark and Jenny Ronsman are a young couple from Wisconsin, USA, who recently made their dreams of buying their own home come true. The couple was very happy to finally be able to move into their new home, but nothing could prepare them for the wonderful surprise they would soon discover. Indeed, under the floor of one of the rooms of the old house, which the former owner had transformed into an office, was hidden a magnificent jacuzzi. This spa was spacious enough to hold at least 4 people, and was covered with beautiful tiles, which had not suffered too much from the wear of time. It didn't take long for the young couple to get the hot tub up and running again. And so, after a little work and a lot of elbow grease, Mark and Jenny were able to enjoy a nice, warm, bubbly bath in their new bathroom, which is not unlike the famous Roman baths. Some people search for treasures at the bottom of the ocean or in the depths of the earth, while others prefer to search in rather unusual and peculiar places. Elizabeth Gibson, a young New Yorker, falls into the latter category, as she discovered a priceless treasure in a very unlikely place. One evening, as she was leaving her house to have a coffee, Elizabeth saw a painting stored among bags of garbage ready to be collected. Not being a great lover of art, the young New Yorker decided to save this painting on principle. And even if the abstract painting of this picture did not tell her anything, she undertook to do research on the internet, in order to discover a clue on the identity of the artist. What was her surprise, when she discovered that the vulgar canvas with dull and cold colors that she had literally found in a dump, was in reality a true masterpiece. The painting, which is called 3 Characters, is indeed signed by the hand of the Mexican painter Rufino Tamayo, who died in 1991, and is estimated at more than $1 million. The painting had been stolen more than 2 decades ago from a Houston couple, and since then, no one had ever seen it. Elizabeth contacted the rightful owners, who were stunned to discover in such a way, this family heirloom that they thought was gone forever. Sometimes the most precious treasures are right in front of your eyes, and all you have to do is look carefully, to make the most beautiful and grandiose discoveries. The story of this Swedish hiker should strongly inspire you to always keep your eyes open and on the lookout, even if you are just walking in the woods. Left for a simple walk in the woods, this amateur of orienteering made indeed the discovery completely by chance, of a priceless treasure made up of antique jewels. Stopping to update a map on his GPS, the young hiker spotted shiny objects near a pile of rocks. As he approached the place, his blood froze in his veins and his face became livid, not from fear or horror but rather from stupor. For in front of him lay a scattered heap of jewels and other precious objects, glistening splendidly in the sunlight. These ornaments have been dated between 750 and 500 BC, and despite their age, they were very well preserved and even gave the impression of being like new. This discovery, totally unexpected but of great importance, should encourage you to always look around you when you jog, because who knows, maybe you will find a treasure. Every fisherman in the world dreams of the miraculous catch or the rare pearl that will make their fortune overnight. But if most of them continue to dream, the sailors of the fishing boat, Flipper 4, have well and truly fallen on the right path, and the cargo they brought back with them to the port of Saint-Pierre is enough to ensure them a well-deserved retirement. These brave herring fishermen have indeed come across a mass of ambergris weighing more than 28 kilograms, which was floating quietly on the waves. When he saw this grayish mass, the fisherman boss, who was an old sea dog, immediately understood that he was dealing with the famous whale vomit. This odorous and inflammable substance is indeed an intestinal concretion of sperm whales, which they end up regurgitating when they become too big. Extremely rare and used to make luxury perfumes, ambergris is thus a very expensive material, so much so that a single kilo can be sold for up to 10,000 euros. With their catch of more than 28 kilograms, the fishermen of the Flipper 4 will be able to share among themselves a nice prize of almost 300,000 euros. Enough to take a nice golden vacation on the French Riviera with their captain. You may have already heard of Andy Warhol, or at least you must have seen one of his most emblematic works. If you have ever admired these famous portraits of Marilyn Monroe in colored silkscreen, then you know who we are talking about. But for those who don't know him, Andy Warhol is generally recognized as one of the greatest artists of the 20th century, and especially the main precursor of pop art. After his death in 1987, his market value continued to rise, reaching heights rarely attained by artists who were his contemporaries. One of these works, The Green Car Crash, was even sold in an auction in New York for the sum of $71.7 million. Considering the exorbitant prices of these works, it is really hard to believe that one can appropriate one at a rate as derisory as $5. Yet this is exactly what happened in Nevada in 2010, when businessman Andy Fields bought a small lot of 5 paintings for $5 at a Las Vegas flea market. When framing these paintings, Andy Fields discovered a pop art portrait of 1930s star actor Rudy Vallee on the back of one of them. But apart from the characteristic appearance of this drawing, it was the signature, which bore the name of Andy Warhol himself, that aroused the curiosity and interest of the old businessman. After some research, he finally discovered that the sketch dated from 1939, when little Andy was only 11 years old and bedridden with cholera. This drawing would thus be the first manifestation of pop art and thus has, in addition to its intrinsic value of work of art, a historical and cultural value. Estimated by experts to be worth more than $1.5 million, this drawing bought for $5 is, so to speak, the deal of the century for its lucky owner. If you happen to venture into the Crater of Diamonds Park in Arkansas in the United States, keep your eyes wide open. You might just stumble upon a diamond that could make you rich. And if you think this kind of thing only happens in Hollywood movies, the fabulous discovery of 14-year-old Kal-El will certainly change your mind. This young boy was taking a leisurely stroll in the park with his parents when he saw a stone next to a water source that shone a little brighter than the others. Seizing the precious mineral, Kal-El quickly realized that it was not a stone like any other. The young teenager and his parents decided to have the stone examined by specialists, and it was from that moment on that the whole world of Kal-El and his family changed. Because the stone that Kal-El had picked up unexpectedly was in fact a real diamond of 7.44 carats, and which could easily bring in 400,000 euros. With all this money, the young boy and his parents will finally be able to afford everything they've always wanted. Inheriting a house or any other real estate is quite a windfall for anyone, isn't it? But what if, in addition to a large home, you inherited a colossal fortune in gold bars? You may think that no one has that much luck in life, and unless your name is Gontran Bonheur, you are more likely to crash in a plane than to draw a winning lottery ticket. However, a resident of Évreux who had the incredibly good fortune to inherit a wealthy house, had the horns of plenty literally spilled in front of him. In fact, when he moved into his new, much more luxurious and spacious home, this man, who was born under a lucky star, discovered a real gold treasure carefully hidden in the house. After the inventory, no less than 5,000 gold coins, 2 bars of 12 kilograms and 37 ingots of 1 kilogram of pure and solid gold were found, and their certificates of authenticity were perfectly in order. This gold was purchased legally in the 1950s and 1960s, and its current value is estimated at over 3.5 million euros. The lucky heir will certainly have to pay the taxman and the various wealth taxes, but it is clear that he will have more than enough to live the dolce vita for the rest of his life. Mike Smith is a British metal researcher who has been cultivating this passion since he was very young. Armed with his trusty metal detector, Mike is constantly scouring the English countryside for old treasures buried deep underground. But like most amateurs, he often has to make do with worthless pieces of junk. Yet, old Mike never gave up hope, until finally, his perseverance and persistence paid off. While searching on a rainy day, his detector began to beep frantically, as if he had found himself on a real iron mine. Digging with his small shovel to find out what it is, Mike discovers an old metal chain all eaten away by rust. Not one to admit defeat, brave Mike continues to dig up the chain, until he literally stumbles upon a 2,500-year-old burial chamber. Inside this dark underground cavity, chariots and equipment from the Iron Age were unearthed, and soon a whole Celtic colony was brought out into the open. Apart from the intrinsic value of the objects and artifacts found, which can fetch seven-figure sums, Mike's incredible discovery also has inestimable cultural value. And that's it for today. Which of these 10 random discoveries impressed you the most? Tell us in the comments, and if you liked this video, don't forget to put a like and subscribe and activate the notifications. See you soon for new discoveries out of the ordinary.